Hey everyone, welcome to Marketing Monday with the Watertown SBDC. I am Nicole, and today we're actually talking about gift certificates or gift cards. They're the same thing. And basically, they're a really great thing to sell, especially around the holidays. I almost wore a Christmas sweater for this, but then I realized that might be a little bit early for that. But as business owners, we need to be thinking about the holidays now. And that's why we picked this topic for today. But before we get started, I want to bring on Liz, who is the director of the Watertown SBDC. And Liz, I know you guys have some stuff coming up that people should know about. So tell us about what's coming up at the Watertown SBDC.
Okay. Hey, Nicole. Well, first of all, I have a green sweater on. So does that count? I'm not sure. I don't really have any red, but yeah, Nicole is right. The holidays will be here. We all know how the downward spiral goes, right? It's Indigenous People / Columbus Day, and then next thing you know, it's the day after Thanksgiving. So, folks, think about these gift cards, and I'll tell you something. One of the things that we keep reading, hearing articles about is young kids, Gen Z and younger. They want experiences. What better thing to do than get them a gift card for an experience? So, Erica Davis from our office and Nicole will be talking about that for the next 40 minutes or so. And I'm going to tell you real quickly that every Wednesday through mid-December, we, except Thanksgiving week, we have also on Facebook Live a safety series with Kurt Callahan, who's a Philadelphia, New York-based certified safety consultant. And so we're trying to bring you, some nuts and bolts stuff with safety and some pie in the sky stuff with marketing. So we're trying to fit all ends of the spectrum. That's one thing. The second thing is this Wednesday, if you happen to be in the greater beautiful downtown Watertown area, please join the SBDC and the Greater Watertown, let me get it right, Greater Watertown North Country Chamber of Commerce for their business after hours that we're sponsoring. We have some awesome food, all locally sourced, some great prizes, and it's at Garland City Beer Works. Go to the Greater Watertown North Country Chamber of Commerce's website to purchase tickets. They're $10 beforehand for members, $12 beforehand for non-members, and 15 buckaroos at the door. 5 to 7 p.m. We hope to see you there. Come and network with some of your peers and eat some great food, and bring a canned food item, a personal care item, and get entered into raffles for some great local business baskets from local businesses.
That sounds awesome. So we'll keep that on the screen a minute longer in case people want to get that down. And the same place you're watching this on Facebook, if you're watching this on Facebook, is where the safety series is happening. Thanks so much, Liz. Nice to see you.
Yeah, nice to see you too.
All right, so let's get on to today's topic, which is gift cards. And just as a reminder, this is Marketing Monday with the Watertown SBDC. We go live every Monday at noon Eastern Standard Time. And the format is this: 15 minutes sort of about a topic or some general information like what Liz is giving us about what's coming up with the Watertown SBDC. And then we answer questions for 30-ish minutes, depending on how many we have. And so if you have questions, you can leave them as a comment on wherever you're watching this video, and we'll see them. Or if your question is a little bit more nuanced, needs a little bit more information, you can also email the Watertown SBDC with the email address that's on the screen, and just specify Marketing Monday so they know that you're not just randomly asking them a marketing question. We can even make you anonymous if you want. So today's topic is about gift certificates and gift cards. And I know if you don't do them, it feels like there's this one more thing you have to do, and it's not really like affecting your business in a negative way by not having them right now. But I want to make just a brief case for having gift certificates or gift cards. Are the same thing. A certificate is a piece of paper. The card is the card, right? So first of all, people are spending money on gift cards. Every single survey that people take after the holidays about what was the most popular gift, it was always gift cards or gift certificates. And people spend $213.49 on gift cards, like per person, in 2019. And as Liz was saying, people want experiences. Sometimes you're not quite sure whether someone has a specific kind of gift, or you're not sure what size they are. A gift card or a gift certificate is a good way to give a personalized gift that isn't something that you have to make a wrong decision about. The other thing I will say is 1/3 of all gift cards or gift certificates are never redeemed. So that means free money. And when in business do you ever get free money? pretty rarely pretty rarely. I can't think of any other real way to get free money. But even of the 2/3 of people who do redeem gift certificates, 72% of them spend more than the value of the gift card. So, let's say you got a $50 gift card to a restaurant, you're having your meal, and you realize that there's, $3 left and the dessert costs $7. And you're going to say, you know what, I'm going to get the pie. I'm going to do it. And I'm going to pay the extra $4. So all this to say is people want to buy gift cards and gift certificates. Sometimes they forget to redeem them, but if they do redeem them, they redeem them for more money. So it is a win-win-win proposition here to sell gift cards or gift certificates on your website. Or, in person too, obviously, if you have an in-person business. But Erica knows way more about that than I do. So she's going to come on after and talk a little bit about sort of the more retail implications. I'm talking about more of the internet ones. So let's look at a couple of examples that small businesses have that I've seen. First of all, if this is Nature's Storehouse, which is in Canton, New York. But if you are using Square or some other payment processor, you can add gift cards or gift certificates as your option. Now, sometimes what it might make you do is put in some kind of selector where you have to pick a set amount of money. That's with the free version of Square. It makes you do that. But, in general, you can sell them like you would sell a product on your website and kind of, you can show people what the gift certificate looks like, and give them some options that way. So first and foremost, if you are using a POS system, you might be able to just sell the gift certificate wherever else you're selling stuff online. The other way to do it is, let's say that you're not the kind of business that has an online presence. Maybe you're a restaurant. What you can do is you can add a payment form to your website. So this is, a payment form of a group of restaurants. And if you click on the gift cards link on their website, it takes you to a payment form that asks you some questions. And one of the things it asks you, if you want to say, well, I'm giving this to a friend, it'll ask you, for the friend's name and gift message so that they can send it directly to the friend. And because this is a payment form and you can put in an open-ended amount of money, let's say, we have a joke and our joke has to do with the number 87. So I might want to give you a gift certificate for $87.87 for our inside joke, right? Doesn't mean for the person getting it, it means something, but, and what this form does is it charges you that amount of money and it takes a credit card payment. So, so that's one way to do it as well, is to have a form on the website. And then, the other way to do it, obviously, is to use, services like your local chamber of commerce typically has some kind of program. And it's really fun that the SBDC is doing that after hours thing with the Chamber of Commerce in Watertown, because I bet that they have a program like this too that you can take part in. And so sometimes they'll handle kind of the selling of the gift certificates, and mainly you just promote, oh yeah, you can go to the chamber's website and buy your gift certificates. So you should ask your local chamber if they have a program. So, but like I said, if you have a form on your website and, or form software on your website, typically you can set those up to take payments. So like I said, if you wanted it to be a little bit more open-ended, and if you want to use your POS, you can as well. But, I just also don't want you to be bummed if you don't have the ability to do this. There's plenty of third-party form software that will allow you to build a payment form. And the one that I use sometimes with clients is called JotForm. I think integrated with the payment form software, it's $29 a month. So think about it. If you put that on for a couple of months leading up to the holidays, and if you sell a few $100 worth of gift certificates, well, you've paid whatever $29 times a couple of months is, right? So I think it's totally worthwhile to set something up. And just a couple more things, then I'm going to ask Erica to talk more about the retail and the sort of accounting and business part of gift certificates, which is what people try to ask me about. But then I tell them to go to the SBDC and talk to them about it because they know way more about it. I also want to talk a little bit about, let's see here. Apparently I can't click and talk at the same time. Oh, that is too small. I want it bigger. Yeah. Okay. So the other thing I will say that it's important to do when you're doing the gift certificate is to have something that looks nice. And there are tons of free sample gift certificates online. So that can be, like I said, I just pulled up some in Canva. You can see some here. And you don't have to settle for exactly what this thing looks like. You can edit it. It's just kind of a starting point for you. Because if this person is going to gift this, maybe you want to print it off on some nice cardstock, and you want it to look nice too. And there's, ways to do that. Because even though it's, something that could be emailed or something that could be printed out, we do want it to look nice. And, the only kind of other thing that you need to make this happen, if you don't have a point of sale system like Square or Shopify or, I don't know, Toast, or, there's tons of point of sale systems out there, is you can use what's called an online payment processor. So Stripe.com is a free online payment processor. They take the same kind of percentage as Square, 2.9% plus 30 cents a transaction. I feel like that's pretty typical with the online credit card processing fees. But setting up Stripe.com is totally free, and you only pay when you make a sale, which is great. And there's other online payment processors as well. And this is just the example. And, I was mentioning JotForm a second ago. So what Stripe does is it takes the credit card payment and encrypts it and puts it into your bank account every 24 hours. It moves that money into your business bank account. And what the JotForm does is it creates a nice looking form for your customers. And like I said, it's $29 a month. I'm not necessarily endorsing this as the only solution, because it isn't, but I do want to say that there's a way to make a form that takes a payment. If you think about it, all these nonprofits have donation forms. Basically, a gift card or gift certificate form is basically almost like a donation form in that it takes an open-ended amount of money for payment. So please consider buying and selling gift cards and gift certificates, because clients want them. And speaking of clients who want them, like Erica can speak to this more than I can, having been in the retail space and stuff. So Erica, I know I'm only getting at the tech part of it, but there's other parts to this as well that people should really know about.
I think so, for sure. And as I'm listening to you too, I think a lot of things have changed, right? Because let's see, I had my store from 2004 to 14 at Bookstore Coffee House. So, but we were so heavy on the gift card sales and redemption. So it's such a huge thing. There's no reason why anybody, whether they're brick or mortar or just online, can't or shouldn't have gift cards available to their customers. And Nicole, I loved, the statistics that you gave about gift cards, because those kinds of numbers across the board, as far as, a third don't ever redeem. And even more than that, the sales, that happen beyond the gift card value, right? As far as one sale. So huge, right?
Yeah,
so
and it's a way for people to experience a new business, right? Like, this is sometimes this person's first impression. Like, you really love this coffee shop, or you really love this massage therapist, and you're giving someone a gift certificate as a way for them to kind of try it out. And I think a lot of those people become like customers and clients. And I don't know if you found that with your bookstore, people who got gift cards and gift certificates would come in, and then once they initially came in and saw how great it was, they were coming in more often.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it also speaks to what you said about chamber gift cards or gift certificates too. I mean, I've always loved to gift gifts, chamber gift certificates, especially to someone I didn't know well, as a gift, because I knew that they loved to come to my town, but I wasn't sure where they really like to eat or shop or that kind of thing. And I think so anytime you have the opportunity to accept chamber gift certificates and that kind of thing at your, you have it. And I mean, that could be online or brick and mortar at this point, I think, right? So I think that's something I would highly encourage too. Yeah.
And I know for me, my hesitation is I don't want to call a business and give my credit card number over the phone to someone I don't know. Like, it always feels really, I guess, odd to do that.
Nowadays it does.
Yeah. Like, it's just, there's identity theft and whatever. And I'm not even saying that the person writing down my information is going to do anything nefarious with it, but it might sit on a piece of paper on a counter, you know what I mean? I would just rather fill out a form. It's encrypted. And especially if it lets me send it directly to the person versus me having to get it and then I put it back in the mail. I think that's great if people can do that.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that's even way back in 2004, we started using, actual gift cards and ran them through our POS, like you said, our point of sale at the register for those reasons too, right? Because it was just like somebody purchasing anything from the store where their credit card was being, safely used and that kind of thing at the register. And I can just talk a little bit about how we did that, if that's helpful to people. Obviously, you know, if you've got a brick and mortar, you've got register, whether it's restaurant or any kind of store, you know, it's a great way to go to have, you know, the actual plastic gift cards. And I don't remember who we got them from specifically, but I think you could Google, how do I buy gift cards for my store or for my restaurant or something like that. And they would, you know, they customize them. So they printed our logo on them, and then we would get them with the numbers and everything and all ready to activate, right, at the register. So, and again, we did that through just, you know, just like anybody would purchase, you know, something, and it was its own tender in the point of sale, which is really important. You were talking about the accounting piece of it. And I'm not going to delve into the tax implications here, but there are a lot of good reasons to be able to record your gift card sales and redemptions separate from your other sales and everything, and make sure that's very clean, because you're going to want to see that sale to redemption, right, difference. And, you know, there are things that you need to pay attention as far as your line items, that way for accounting purposes too. But it makes it super simple. One of the sort of features we had, even way back then, was that if someone received a gift card as a gift, and they would come use it and redeem it, that if they didn't use the whole balance on their receipt from our POS system, they would have their balance. So when they got their receipt, they would see how much they would have left to use on their gift card. So, hey, if that was happening back then, I can't imagine how simple it is to make all of this happen this day and age. But obviously, you want to make sure you've got a point of sale who gives you the ability to sell and, you know, redeem gift cards through your store.
Yeah, and if you feel like you're a smaller business, like you're, you know, like in a particular service business, so like my co-working space, like I don't really have a point of sale, you can have a form that takes a payment. I don't want you to feel like you're left out of this process if you are a very small business. And I will say I do have a Moonlight and have a business that sells gift cards and gift certificates. And we have sold gift certificates for doulas. We have sold gift certificates for like lawn care. I mean, don't feel like just because you don't have a storefront that you can't sell gift cards and gift certificates.
Or that you have to be a shop or a restaurant. You can be any kind of service business. You don't have to have a product, right? I think that's the point. Is this, which we all know, but then I think, you know, we don't think about all those things that people want to buy certificates or gift cards for other people. Yeah.
And when I launched this, it's for a particular geographic area. I was really thinking like, okay, only the busiest town in this area with restaurants is going to make any sales, but it hasn't been the case at all. Like people definitely have been buying more different kinds of things than I expected. And even just the visibility of you having a gift card or gift certificate is like, is really nice. And around the holidays, especially if people have waited a bit too long, or, you know, we're hearing rumblings of supply chain issues, like this is a great way that you have your gift ready to go. Like you got it. It's personal. You thought about what this person would want, but it's flexible enough that the person can pick the services or the products they want from it, which I think is really great.
It goes back to what Liz was saying as far as that experience, right? You know, especially younger people, you know, we're really looking for different ways to gift and looking for different, you know, different reasons to say thanks too, you know, as far as experiential things for sure. So
right. And a couple of things I can throw out there just from my like website selling gift certificates, because I learned all this the hard way. So just like you all don't learn it the hard way. Gift certificates are what are called cash equivalents, which means you do not charge taxes on them. The person will pay the taxes when they come in and make their purchase. Right. So you know, for the first month, I was charging tax on my gift cards and gift certificates. And when I went to go report it, they're like, you're not supposed to charge people. So I ended up just refunding people, you know, at some expense to myself, but like that was the right thing to do. So just know if someone buys $100 gift certificate, you know, and the way that Erica says you put it correctly in the POS system, probably in large part so that it doesn't charge taxes to this person because it's cash equivalent. And the other thing to keep in mind, is that there are certain services which will not let you do things with cash equivalents. So for example, I turned on Amazon Pay on my gift certificate website. And what Amazon Pay lets people do is it lets people, like if you think about, if you have an Amazon account, it has all your credit cards. It has all your mailing addresses. It pulls that stuff in. So people can go into a website, Amazon Pay, what address, what credit card, and they don't have to enter all that stuff into a new site. So I turned that on, and I made, of the 5 sales I made for that, like whatever, 24 hours it was live, 4 of them, people paid with that. But then Amazon Pay said, no, you can't use this for cash equivalents. So now we're going to hold your money for 180 days. So just like if you do use a service like that, just read the fine print. But you can, like I said, you can use some kind of form software and just use Stripe.com. It's going to take a percentage because it takes a credit card. It has to take a percentage. And just offer something, especially like I said, people around the holidays, and that gift certificate website is slamming around the holidays. And, it's not just people will buy it for their parent, so that their parents or their family lives in a particular geographic area. They might buy something for their parent or grandparent. I've seen people buy it for their college kids, buy a gift certificate to the local grocery store so that they'll, go buy some nice food. It's really it really spans all the ages, really. It's not just a certain kind of person that's getting these gift cards and gift certificates.
For sure. Yeah. I wanted to mention too, while we're on that, on the whole starting to think about the holidays, which is the biggest gift card, right? Gift certificate season, obviously, is that, one thing I kind of not necessarily had to learn the hard way, but I knew that I had to be very careful about it, is that especially with seasonal businesses, and so much of us are, on the retail and restaurant side of it in upstate New York, is that you're going to sell a ton of these gift cards, right? Pre-holidays. And it goes along with any seasonal business, right? But you have to think about the redemptions that happen in the first quarter of the following year, right? And so those, gift card revenue, just like all of your other revenue during your busy time, you need to think about that cash flow, and think about the fact that, it could be that a lot of your January sales are gift card redemptions. Right. So, even though people might be spending more, and that's great, it's still gonna make a difference in your revenue stream in those slower months. So, yeah. Oh, I can't hear you, Nicole. Maybe it's me though.
No, it's totally me.
Okay.
I used it because a car was driving by very loudly. But one of the things is, one of my clients is a one-woman spa. And what she does is she actually takes the gift certificate money and puts it in a separate account. And so that might be a good way. If you're a small business and you're like, oh, I'm not sure about keeping track of this, whatever bank or credit union that you use probably lets you add multiple accounts. And you could just make an account just for that gift card and gift certificate money. You can put it in there. Maybe you can earn some interest while you're waiting for those people to redeem it, and 1/3 of them aren't going to. So gift certificates can't expire, or gift card, they can't expire legally. Right. So if someone walks in 5 years from now with that thing, you need to probably have the cash on hand for them to be able to use for that. So it is free money, but it also is money that may or may not be spent. So, if you want to borrow from your gift certificate fund temporarily, just put it back later,
Right. Yeah. It's all about cash flow, no matter what it is. Right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. So should we answer a couple of questions about gift cards and gift certificates?
Right.
Okay. Yeah. So obviously people especially if you've never sold this before, you need to tell people that you sell them. So what I'm wondering, Erica, is when you had your retail store and all of that, did you make people aware, or how did you get more gift certificate sales?
Yeah. So, oh my gosh, I'm going to have to try to remember what our promotion was. But I know that we certainly, promoted, gift card availability, and, for the holidays and everything through our e-newsletter. We actually had a regular paper newsletter for a long time too, because we were a bookstore. So we were promoting a lot of books for the season and that kind of thing. So an actual print newsletter too. Let's see, I'm trying to, of course, these days it would be getting it up there on social media, a great Instagram post with your, what your gift cards look like, an image, something like that. And we did do something. I'm trying to remember if it was something like, purchase $100 worth of gift cards and get $5 off or $10 off. I can't exactly remember what it was, but to do some kind of promotion like that. to help, people talk people into buying for more people is a great way to go.
Yeah. And I don't know about you, but I feel like I have to say the same thing over and over and over again, even to people who I think already know it. So, even if you think about it, the average like social media update, or at least Facebook and Instagram in particular, is seen by between 1% and 3% of your audience. So like if you have, 100 people who like your page and you post something, between 1 and 3 people are going to see it, unless people have a massive reaction to it. And I'm guessing that you selling gift certificates or gift cards, unless you do something really crazy to tell people, I'm guessing it's not going to necessarily get a ton of viral reaction. So post it multiple times, different times of day, like let people know in different ways that you sell gift cards and gift certificates. If it feels really repetitive to you, it's because you're seeing all of your own marketing messages. Other people aren't. And, if possible, I think too, like sort of piggybacking with other businesses, whether that's something that's organized by your local chamber or whether it's self-organized, maybe it's a bunch of people on your street, or maybe it's a bunch of people who are in your industry. Maybe you're a bunch of massage therapists and you just want to get together and say, like, give the gift of massage in, Northern New York. And here's all the places you can buy, and you can all cross promote each other, like a rising tide lifting all boats. Just to make people aware. I think sometimes just people need to be reminded, and they're not thinking that you have the ability to sell these things online. And, I went, before pandemic times, I went to go visit some friends in Portland, Oregon. And I'm one of those people who travels with a carry-on. So whenever I do a host gift, I always get a gift certificate for a local place. And that's like my, hey, thanks for letting me crash here without something taking up, 25% of the room in my suitcase. So I remember, Portland, Oregon, relatively large city. I kept all my receipts from all the places we went, and I started calling, or I started going to their websites. And I had to go to 7 websites before I found one that would sell me a gift certificate. And only then it would ship only to me. And I was like, this is so silly. Like, I just want to be like, hey, thanks for hosting me, and just send it to them. Like, I don't ever need to see it. So I ended up getting it mailed to me and then mailing it to them. But yeah, so just like, even most people, like I said, I just assumed in a place like that there would be restaurants, and I'm trying to think of, cafes that we went to that would be selling online, but they're not. So if you're in a small town in Northern New York, like, people aren't necessarily thinking you have that available. So you're going to have to remind them constantly.
Yeah. And we used to send them off too. We'd ship them off to people,
Yeah, no. And people appreciate that, they like the connection. So, I'll offer that as an option.
Especially if you have an online presence, because I might have had, people that like to buy books from my independent bookstore that were out of town. They still appreciated the gift card being sent to them, kind of thing. So, yeah.
Oh my God. I follow this bookstore on TikTok, and they put together these mystery boxes. Like, you say what kind of books you want, and they put them in a box for you and send them to you. Cool. And that's the kind of thing, that's the kind of personal touch people want. So, and they want to support your business. So like, let's make it easier for them by selling online. And and another question, we got last week, and I'd love your take on this, Erica. People often ask about like what POS system is right for me. And, I had, I guess, some thoughts on that, previously, but I'm wondering, how did you pick I get that, again, this was a long time ago, whatever, 10 years ago. In internet time, it feels like a long time ago. But when you picked your POS, and you Google now anything with the word POS in it, and the first 10 things you're going to see are ads, because people tend to buy something when they're looking for a point of sale, right?
There's so much out there.
Yeah. So, but in your kind of counseling, and also in your experience, like, what do you think kind of are some questions people should be asking themselves, or things that they can do to make sure that they're picking out? And, what I said was there's no perfect system, but like, here's how I would pick it out from a feature standpoint. But I would love to also hear from this is how we picked it out standpoint too.
Yeah. So I think my best answer to that question is the research and the due diligence it takes, I think, to find a POS system that works specifically really well with your business. And it took me a while to figure it out because it had to be, I knew pretty much that it had to be a POS system for bookstores because of the inventory and, and making sure that it knew how to receive books, based on ISBNs. That's how that's a book number, basically, that's pre-assigned. So those kinds of, I'm just saying that just because it's the specific examples of what I had to look for in a POS system. And I can't imagine just getting a basic one, but sometimes I'm thinking basic ones, will work perfectly for a certain business. But if you're a restaurant, I would probably lean toward ones that are geared toward restaurant, so that if you do want to track your inventory and those kinds of things, you can. I could have just as well maybe gone with one that's for a restaurant to run the coffee house and then tried to figure out the books on the other end. But this was, going with the bookstore side, but knowing it was software that I could then be able to, customize for my coffee house so that we could all be one POS system was really important to me. So there were some bookstore, book sale software or POS systems that would do that, and there are some that wouldn't. So just as an example of the due diligence that was required to get the right POS system in my stores that were basically two separate different businesses needing two different things, requiring different criteria, but we actually, made it work. And so I'm guessing this day and age that there are POS systems that are a little bit more customizable, a little bit more flexible, allow you to do different things. But I think at the same time, it's so important to know. And they have reps out there who want to sell their product. You need to be talking to those reps, getting on the phone with them, making sure you're checking all the boxes as far as what POS system, what one does versus the other, those kinds of things, and really get on the phone with somebody to say, okay, does it have this capability for this specific thing, Yeah. And including gift cards.
Yeah. And what they're going to do obviously is emphasize what they're really good at. And the thing is,
right.
You want to think about what you need and want. And Erica brings up a great point of understanding, looking at the POS systems that service the industry that you're in. So obviously if I run a fitness studio, I need people to sign forms that they're not going to sue me before I, put them on, I don't know, suspended things in my gym. Right. So
or another example for fitness, sorry to interrupt, but another example for fitness concepts is subscription, like memberships, right? You want to be able, your POS system to be able to, decipher between all your different membership model or, different levels and that kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah. And if they're allowed to sign up for, 10 classes as part of their membership and they've signed up for 10 online already, sorry, you got to buy more, sometimes it's worth paying for something or a little bit more for something that takes some of the work off of you. But what you want to think about is what do I absolutely need? And then what I, typically do is I make a features table, which sounds super nerdy, but what it is, it allows me to compare apples to apples. And I'm just pulling up an example one that I've done before, just because I think whatever.
Oh yeah, that's great. Because that's what I was, talking about. But
definitely.
The words for it.
But what happens to me though is unless I organize it in some kind of comparable thing, is I take a bunch of notes. In particular, if I'm with a good salesperson and we're vibing and we're talking about stuff, it's it doesn't necessarily allow me to compare things fairly. And
right. The apples to apples thing is huge, and also can get really confusing, right? You're like, okay,
right, and you're like, oh wait, was this? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Was it that other woman I was talking, what person was I talking to? And so I'll just share this very briefly, but and this looks whatever. I just color coded it so I could keep track of things. But we were doing this for a fitness client, and the thing that the things she wanted, what I did is I separated out into sort of admin features, client facing features, how it did the payments. And then I compared it so that we could go across the board and see what was going to work. And I asked her, hey, what are the things? And, she was like, yeah, gift cards. And as you see, in terms of this particular comparison, they all take gift cards. But there was one that really stood out once we said, okay, these are the 5 things that are important. And then here are the ones that keep coming up when we're doing research and compared across. And did it take a fair bit of hours to make this? Yeah, but like, were we able to confidently pick something out that she didn't hate that's going to kind of serve her going forward?
Yeah,
I think it was a worthwhile thing to do. So
for sure.
But it's cool that it sounds like you did that same thing. And,
yeah,
you know, obviously different industries have specific things that, you know, you kind of take for granted because that's the only business you run. You're like, oh yeah, I run a bookstore. Like, of course, ISBN numbers. But if you look into other systems, like they don't take those into account.
No. And I mean, that made it a little bit easier for me because really back then anyway, there were like 3 or 4 bookstore related POS systems, but I still had the question about, do I want to run my coffee house sales through that POS? Do I want to combine them or do I want to keep them separate? So it was a huge and very, very important decision. Yeah.
Yeah. And, you know, obviously, you know, you want to make the best decision you can with the information you have. If you change your mind a year in, that's okay. It's a little bit more work, but it's okay. You know, I changed web platforms 4 times before I found the one that I ultimately use on my website. And, you know, and it works for me. So,
yeah,
you know, and I'm a relatively tech savvy person. So, you know, like sometimes you have to try something out first. So,
yeah. And I mean, obviously any kind of online platform is going to be a little bit easier to do that with, you know. I mean, my POS software was, you know, a pretty big expense, you know, so that would be something you'd want to feel really good about, you know, your decision.
Absolutely.
But at least with online platforms, even if you're spending $15 a month, you can make the switch without being too painful, right?
And the thing is, like, I know, you know, we started off with all of these online stuff being cheaper. Be like, oh, it's an app. It only costs $2.99. But now, like, I mean, some of these softwares one of these is $700 a month. One of these is like $279 a month. Like it's not necessarily even a trivial amount of money at this point. Just because it's entirely online doesn't, you know, you still you're still sometimes going to invest a little bit of money. But if you think about it, if spending $279 a month saves you 10 hours a month of admin, that might be a worthwhile spend for you because then you can spend that time, you know, growing your business and doing other things.
The other thing you want to look for in a POS system is, you know, what's their customer service policy? You know, are they 24/7? Are they, you know, that kind of thing. So,
yeah, you can get a good idea and don't take their word for it about they think their customer service is great. Like go into online forums and be like, no, how is it really?
How is it?
People will, and people will tell you because the person that you're talking to during the sales process is not the person who's going to be helping you out when the form is not loading on the page you think it should be loading on or whatever, you know?
Right. Yeah. And also with any of this, and I think it also depends on how much money you're potentially spending, but, you know, you should be able to ask them, you know, to validate with some other people who have purchased, you know, the POS system or whatever to get it. And if they hesitate on that, then you know, find out. But that's another good way to go as far as doing the proper research.
Yeah. Sometimes when people aren't forthcoming with information, that is information.
Absolutely. For sure.
And someone asked me this the other day and I had a nerdy answer for this, but, Erica, is PayPal still a thing?
Well, I think it is.
Okay. So I just figured because I'm somebody who I purchase software. I work with people from other countries, you know, sometimes, you know, like the software I use for my reporting is based in Montreal. So like, you know, is PayPal's a thing for you too, right? Because PayPal's a thing for me. And I like to offer it as an alternative way to pay when someone's checking out of my website. So there's the credit card field, but then there's PayPal. And I would say 3 out of 5 people who check out of my e-commerce site pick PayPal. And I think it's because there's this perceived buyer protection with PayPal in a way that, like, you know, especially if you feel like, you know, I mean, my website, it's a small website, right? So like they're like, I don't recognize this brand. Is this a scam? And so if you put it into PayPal, I feel like people have this perception too that like they're a little bit more protected or like, you know, they're not giving me their credit card number or bank account number directly. But yeah.
Right. No, I think that's still to this day, so many people are using so many different things, you know, I mean, whether it's Venmo or PayPal or, you know, Zelle too, right? Through your bank account. I mean, everybody's all over the place as far as what they prefer to use, so I think, at least having the top 3 or 4 available to use is behooves your business at this point, because I think everybody's all over the place that way. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's just nice to have options, because I don't know, I've been like lying in bed before, maybe on my phone, don't judge me, and I like want to buy something, but I haven't memorized my credit card number, but I know my PayPal login. And there has been a time where I didn't buy the thing because I didn't feel like getting up and going to get my wallet in the other room and like paying for it. But if I was lying in bed, I could easily just type in that PayPal password. And I think offering at least 2 forms of payment when someone checks out is just, it's like, oh, these people are kind of on it, I mean, that's what I think anyway.
And keeping up with it too, right? As far as what the trends are, I think is super important.
Yeah. Or just, it's just like, when you go to the grocery store, paper or plastic, like you give an option if you can.
Options.
Yeah,
right.
People like
because what is the percentage of sales lost, right? When you don't offer Venmo, right? Something.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're not sure, I mean, you can always look at your web stats and see how many people kind of initiated the checkout process versus how many people finished it. And that might tell you if there's, something in your process. Obviously, if people got to the payment page and 90% of people exited, well, maybe there's, maybe they wanted something else there. So you could experiment
those are
with
some solid data to keep an eye on for sure. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, that's all we've got for today. Thanks everyone for watching. And again, just to remind you, every Monday at noon Eastern Standard Time, we go live with Marketing Monday. And if you have questions, if you have comments, you're watching this broadcast later on, you're not watching it live, it's okay. Sometimes I don't watch things live either. No judgment. You can leave a comment wherever you're seeing this if you have a question you want us to answer, or you can email the Watertown SBDC if you have something that you want maybe to give a little bit more information on, or you want to be made anonymous, because we love hearing people's questions. And make an appointment with your SBDC counselor. If you're seeing this now and you're like, wow, these people know a lot of stuff. They know a lot of stuff and they can help you. So make an appointment with Erica or someone like her. It's free. It's like good advice and it's free. So like just go on their website and make an appointment. And
no excuses, right?
No excuses. And get this up and running for the holiday season, because you're going to make some extra money during maybe a time of year where you could use the extra money. And you're gonna, maybe get some new customers from it as well, from them being able to try your business relatively risk-free. So thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next week, and take care.